Hey everybody, welcome to SQL Saturdays. We're going to get started in a few minutes, just allowing more time for people to trickle in, and then we'll soon get
Hey everybody,
to
welcome
it.
to SQL Saturdays.
Welcome to SQL Saturdays, everyone. If it's your first time, definitely let us know in the chat. We'd love to hear if it's your first time, or if it's not your first time, still let us know that you're here. Say hi, we're all here. Let us know where you're coming from. We definitely want to know where you're logging in from. We're in for a special treat today, so get ready. Hey Ahmed, thanks for joining from Nigeria. It's your first time? Awesome. Thanks so much for coming. We have a lot of people from Nigeria in the Discord, so that's really cool to see. And as you're all trickling in, please make sure you like and subscribe to the All About the Data YouTube channel so you can stay up to date on all things all about the data. Hey Roman from Boston, nice to see you. It's your first time as well. Awesome. Hey Jay, Jay is coming in from LinkedIn. Okay, yes, we're live on LinkedIn now too. So we're live on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Twitter, y'all. Lex from New York. Thanks for coming, Lex from New York. Lex is our community manager and chief operating officer of All About the Data. So give it up for Lex. Sandra from Copenhagen, if that's how you say it. Welcome, Sandra, and your first time as well. Thanks so much for coming. Yes, as Lex mentioned, check out the pinned message on the YouTube chat. We have all the things that you will need for today. So you can set up your database on SQLite and check out the data set that we'll be using today. We're also going to go over that after we introduce the moderators and your instructor for today. All right. Okay, coming in from Arkansas. Awesome. Hey, Illumide. All right, looks like we can get started. We got some people on. Okay, now Rob, if you can go to the next slide. Okay, awesome. Welcome everyone again to SQL Saturdays. Today I am your host, Ugochi. I am a part of the All About the Data community. Just a little bit about me. I work in public health and I have a bachelor's in statistics, so I'm very interested in using my statistics skills in public health and population health analytics. And I am experienced with R and very new to SQL. So I do love coming and joining and hosting SQL Saturdays with you all. Let's see. And then we can go to the next slide and introduce everyone. So Rob, you could take it away.
Oops. Hey, everybody. Welcome. So my name is Rob Holmes. I've been in data analytics for quite a little bit now, across different roles, industries, consulting, and startups as well. I have experience with AWS, SQL, Python. I've done a lot of stuff in data, but definitely really excited to be here and hopefully provide some value to everyone today.
Thanks, Rob. Now, Nandu, one of our moderators.
Hi everyone. I'm doing my final year in statistics and data sciences, and I have experience in SQL, R, and SAS, and just hope everyone will enjoy the session.
Thank you, Nandu. And Sonali.
Hi everyone, this is Sonali. I'm an HR analyst with about 3 years of experience, mostly with data cleaning, auditing, reporting, and data visualization. So I mostly work in Excel and Smartsheets. Currently learning SQL with you guys. Welcome.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. So we can go to the next slide and start the setup. So, Rob, did you want to lead the setup, or would you like me to just explain everything, or you get on that?
Yeah, no, I can do that if that
Cool.
works for everybody else. We're gonna use something online just to make it super easy for today. So you can go to SQLite online. There should be a link in the chat, so you should be able to just click that and open it up. And so I'll kind of show you what that looks like on my end. Oops. Let's see here. So if we go to SQLite online, you should get something that looks similar to this. Also, we have the link to the data set. So we're going to use a sample superstore file. So you can open up this link, and it should open up a drive with a CSV file. And you can just hit download on that, and it should come straight down to you here. So I'll give everybody just a minute to do that, and then we'll hop back over here. So give just 1 minute. If you have any trouble, just let us know, and we'll make sure that you get the data set. But it's a pretty small data set, so it should work just fine. And once you get it downloaded, the import should be fairly easy. So you're going to go up here to the top, make sure you have SQLite. We're going to use that today. So make sure that's highlighted here. And then you want to go up top to the left-hand side and click import. And it's going to ask you to open a file. Once you do that, you'll just need to find the file that you're using. Here's what I'm using here. Actually, here, I already have it saved. So I'm going to use that sample superstore here. And I'm going to open it. And I'm going to rename it to something just a little bit shorter. Just going to name it Superstore. You're free to name it whatever you would like, but it may be easier to just name it Superstore to follow along with kind of what we're doing today. And then the next step is going to ask you a couple of things. Delimiter, you can keep the same. It's just saying that it's delimited by a comma. It's a CSV file, so that works. Escape, you can keep that the same. For column name, you are going to want to click on this drop down and click first line. And so what that does is just says, hey, the first line of the CSV is where the column names are. And that's exactly what we want to do. And then you can leave command as run. That means it'll just do it all by itself. And then if you scroll down to the bottom and hit OK, it should import it, and you should see Superstore right on your left-hand side. So going to give it a minute or two to let everybody get set up here. Like I said, if you have any questions, any trouble, let us know, and then we'll move on here.
So, Rob, real quick question. We're sticking with the SQLite database rather than PostgreSQL?
Yep.
Okay.
So, today we're going to stick with SQLite. Keep it real easy.
Cool. Just wanted to make that known just because I know everyone's used to us using Postgres. So everyone make sure you use the SQLite section of that.
Sweet. So while everybody's getting set up, hopefully you're set up. If not, throw something in the chat. Let us know to slow down. But so today we're going to focus on a couple of different window functions. So the first one is rank. So as you start to use SQL, you're going to work with a lot of data sets where you need to know, okay, hey, maybe I need to get the top top 10 or bottom 10 or something like that. And in my experience, rank is really good because you want to try to do as much of your SQL in the database and not rely on any outside tools like ETL, or if you're doing something in Tableau or Power BI, it's so much easier to do it in SQL. So that way you leave, the file pretty flat and you can do what you need to do in your editor. So rank just kind of helps you do that. And it also can help actually with if you have duplicates, duplicate values, you can kind of get rid of them based off of that. So first one up is going to be rank. The rank function, it assigns a rank to every row within a partition of a result set. So what do I mean by partition? So partition by is essentially saying, okay, I want to split, sort this by, or not sort this, I want to split this by whatever expression. So let's say, for instance, we wanted to partition it by the company name. Let's say we had a list of 10 companies and we want to partition it by the companies. It would give, okay, let's say the company was All About the Data and that All About the Data had 10 records. It would rank all of those records from 1 to 10. And then for the next company, it would start over and do the same thing. So that's what partition by gives you. And then order by allows you to rank it either descending or ascending. So if I wanted, for instance, the highest value to be the first one, then I would do it descending. And if I wanted the lowest, I would do it ascending. And we'll dive into that.
Hey, Rob.
Question? Yeah.
So sorry to interrupt. It looks like the link is not working to the data set. I'm not sure if we pasted it in wrong, or like if you go back to the setup, because some people tried to open, they can't see the data set.
Let's see here. It should work. Let's see if it
That one should work, right?
Weird.
Okay, I'm gonna paste that link into the.
Yeah, let me know if it doesn't work, and I can.
Sure.
It should work.
I just pasted the link from the slide in the YouTube comments.
Oh, awesome! Thank you.
So if y'all can try that.
Let me know if that's working for everyone. I'll pause for a second. Was everyone able to access?
Okay, yes, it looks like it's working from the slides because the slides were shared out. So.
Gotcha. Okay.
So
Sorry about that, folks. Not sure what happened there. All right. So hopefully everybody's able to download that data set now. So if not, just let us know and we'll find a way to get it to you. So just to recap kind of what we were saying, just for the people who are still trying to download the data set. So the first thing we're going to do is rank. And essentially what that will do is allow us to assign a value, a rank, 1 through however many rows there are to a row in a data set. So if we had, let's say, All About the Data, we had a list of company names and the number of employees, right? We could rank it by that. And you would see, if we had 10 companies, you would see ranks 1 through 10. So let's just go ahead and dive in here. So hopefully you've already imported your data set. And so I'm just going to go here, and just so we can get a look at what our data looks like, if you click on Superstore and right click on it, it'll give you a quick option to select show table. So you click on that and it's going to open it up for us. So I'm going to close some of this stuff here so we can get a look at what we've got, open up some of these columns. So we've got a good amount of stuff here. We've got some sales values and things of that nature over here. All right, so I think we got a good look at this. So let's take a look at this data set. So what do we have? We have basically a list of orders. We have the order IDs, the dates, the shipping date, segments, countries, some more details, customers, quantity, sales, okay? So pretty good data set, I would say. So going back to here, so now we know kind of what rank is. We know, all the pieces of of that. And so now we can look at how can we actually implement this to this data set, right? So again, rank is great for creating top in, bottom in for reporting. If you wanted to just get like a quick and dirty of, okay, what does my data look like? So if you go on the slides, you can actually just copy this code here, or you can type it. But essentially, let's just try it out. So let's say we want to get the top 100 customers by sales. So if we go back in here, I'm just going to take this and copy it. Get rid of that. All right. So let's look at the code really quickly. So here's what we're doing here. So we're getting customer name, we're getting sales, and then we're getting the rank of those sales. So let's walk through this entire line here. So we're calling rank, and then you want to say over, open parentheses, and then we're just going to do an order by here just to make it really easy. And we'll talk about the partition by just a little bit later in this. But this will give you the rank. So what we're doing is we're saying, give us the sales and then rank it descending. So the highest value will be 1. The lowest value will be however many the records there are. So we said we wanted to get the top 100, right? So what we can actually do here is put in a limit. So this will give us the top 100. Right? So I put some text here, take comments. All right, so now if we run this, we should get, and so you have your run right here. If we run this, we immediately get, pretty quickly, we get our customer name, we get the sales amount, and we get the rank. Looks good, right? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You can keep scrolling down and looking at these, but let's look at this part. We start to scroll down here, and as we get down to the 30s here, we start to see duplicates. So we've got 2 37s here, and then it skips 38 and goes to 39. That's kind of rough. So why did that happen, and how can we fix it? So to start with the why. So when we're ranking these, right, we're ranking it based off of the sales amount. Well, if we look at Greg Maxwell here and Kathy Prescott.
Hey, Rob.
Yeah.
Can you just zoom in a little bit more? It's here.
Sure
The screen's a little blurry.
Yeah.
Thank
no
you.
problem at all. Can y'all see a little better? Let's see if I can.
Perfect. That's good.
All right. So let me see if I can collapse this. I don't know if I can. There we go. All right. Is that better?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Sweet. All right. So if we go back down here, let's open this up a little bit more. So again, we've got Greg Maxwell and Kathy Prescott, right? So they both have sales for the same amount. So they both get the rank 37, which ideally makes sense. We want them to have the same rank because they have the same value. But the problem here is if you're really doing ranks is that you're missing a number in 38. It skips. So that leads us to the next thing we can do, which is dense rank. So I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint here and just come through here. So again, highlighting those issues. What are the 2 issues? One, we're skipping rank numbers. So we're skipping that 38 number. And then the second problem that we'll tackle is there's duplicate rank numbers. Like what if I want the rank to be unique? What if I wanted to say, Greg Maxwell to be 37 and I wanted Kathy Prescott to be 38 and continue that way? So we're going to tackle both of those today. But first we'll tackle skipping the rank numbers. So that's where we bring in dense rank. So I'll actually pause there before we jump into dense rank and make sure any questions, everybody following along, let us know in the chat so I can make sure everybody's following along. All right, looks like we are good. So dense rank. So dense rank is essentially just like rank, but it solves our problem of skipping over that 37, skipping over 38, and then going to 39. So it'll give us 37, 38, 39, right? So that's cleaning up our rank just a little bit more. So if we take this and go back over to this, all I'm going to do here, really all you have to do here is you don't even have to copy that code. You just add in dents here, dents rank, and we're going to run. All right. So now let's see what we got. So let's go back down to kind of the 35, 36. Okay. So here's our Greg Maxwell and Kathy Prescott. So now we see that we have 33, 34, 35, 36. So they're still the same, which we'll tackle next. But you see here, now we have the consecutive numbers, right? So 36, 37, 38. So it's clean data all the way through. We get 1 all the way down to, oh, looks like 92. So we didn't even have 100 records, which is okay. So now that we have that, let's jump back over to the PowerPoint. And again, what were our results? So again, we're looking here, we're seeing same numbers, but now we're no longer skipping. So does that make sense to everyone? Any questions? I'm going to pause there before we jump to the next part. Awesome. Looks like everybody's following along. So, all right. So what was our next problem? So our next problem was we had duplicate rank numbers. Okay. So we want to get rid of this duplicate. We don't want there to be a tie. We want there to be unique ranks so that, right, if we were to put it into a dashboard or something like that, it's very easy for the tool to know those. And it also helps so you don't have any issues with if you had to do any kind of type of joins or anything like that. So that brings us to row number. So row number, again, is a window function, and it assigns basically the unique value to each row. No matter, what order it's in, it's going to give you a unique number. So we won't see, 237s or 238s. We're going to see 1 through whatever, all the way through, no duplicates. So if we come in here and we change this dense rank, we're going to just change this really quick. We're going to change it to row number. Oops, alrighty. So now we should get all the way through 1 through whatever it is. So we're going to hit run. Should run fairly quickly. Now let's just go down here and scroll. 15, 16, 17. All right, we're getting closer. So let's look at these two. So we've got Greg Maxwell and Kathy. Same numbers, right? Same amount of sales, but now they're ranked. Oops, let me do that. They're ranked sequentially. So there's a 37 and a 38. So there's no more duplicate ranks here, right? So that's a quick overview of those 3 things. So we've done the easy part here, right? We've looked at it across the entire data set we're ranking it. But now we're going to dig a little bit deeper. I don't have a slide technique for that, so we'll just have to kind of follow along here. But let's talk about the partition part. Now, we're going to clear this out and let's relook at the data set. So let's select star from Superstore, right? It's going to just look at the data set one more time and see what values we have. So we have order IDs. So let's say now we want to look at, for each customer, we want to get their top sale, right? So we want to get the highest rank for them, the highest rank sale. So if we look really quickly, we're just going to look at Claire because she's the first one. So if you look at Claire, she's got 2 sales here, maybe a little bit more. If I can pull this up. So Claire's got 2 sales. If we look at them, she's got a $731 sale and a $261 sale, right? So let's say we want to get the highest one for each customer. So for Claire, this would be that $731.94. So how do we go about getting that for each record? Well, that's where the partition by comes back in. And so I'm actually going to go back up here to rank and just talk through. So previously we did rank over, we skipped the partition, and we did the order by, right? So now we're going to add in this partition part. So you're going to say partition by, what are we partitioning by? Anybody know what we're going to partition by? We said we wanted to get it for each customer. So throw in the chat, and let me know, or unmute somebody, and let me know what we would partition by, or what you think we partition by. All right, so if you thought we were partitioning by a customer name, then you're right. So if we come in here and we say, we're going to type the SQL all the way out. So we're going to get, what's the value here? I think it's customer name. So we're going to get customer name. We're going to get sales. And then we're going to do our rank. So we're going to actually do row number this time to make sure that there's no duplicates, because we only want one record for each customer, right? So we're going to do, it's a little bit easier to see, do row number over and partition by. Partition by, I think I just spelled partition probably wrong. Partition by, and we're going to say customer name. Okay. And then we're going to do, so then how do we add in, right? How do we add in the order by? So if we go back to the syntax here, you have over, partition by here, and then we're going to order by. So the next thing we're going to do is come in here, partition by customer name, we're going to order by sales, and we want the max, so we're going to do descending. And we can give this a name as sales rank. Oops. So this is the first step. So hopefully this runs. Let's see if it gives me an error. Awesome. So if you're following along, so now we have the rank. So we have Aaron here. Aaron's got quite a few records. So if we come down here, you see Aaron goes all the way to 6, ranks all of his, and then it starts on Aaron Hawkins, and it starts back over at 1. So there's our partition by. But what did we say we wanted to do? We wanted to get only the top record for each person. So this is where we basically have to do a subquery. And I think we've went over that before. So how do we do that? So we're going to do a select star from, and we're going to give this query an alias. So we'll just call it A. So we're saying select everything from this query, A, which is the one we just did partition by. And we need to say where sales rank equals what? 1. So now this is saying select everything from this subqueries where the sales rank is 1. So we should get 1 record for each person in this data set. So let's see what happens when we run it. So now, as you can see, every customer has 1 record. Their sales rank is 1. We can see it all the way down. Every sales rank is 1. So there's only 1 for each person, which is great. So that's your partition by. So now let's just take another step further for everyone who's been following along with SQL Saturdays, and let's sort this, right? So let's sort this data set. So we said, well, where sales rank equals 1, and then we want to order this by sales descending. Okay, so this will give us the highest sales here at the top as a top value. So if we rerun it, so now we've got the highest sale was Sean Miller. He had 22,638.48, and it goes all the way down. So let's clean this up a little bit. So when I look at sales, this is a little extra stuff, but I like to keep everything clean here. So one thing I noticed about this data set, right, is the sales, we've got 0.968. We've got multiple decimals here. So not really a fan of that. So how can we fix that, right? So essentially we can go back in our subquery here and let's look at sales. We can actually, I think this is right. We can call round. On here, 2. So that gives us 2 decimal points, and that should work for SQLite. Hopefully it doesn't yell at me. That was wrong. Let's see. No column sales. I'm not sure why it did that. Because I should take it, but that's okay. We'll just leave it for now because I don't want to take up too much time into that. But normally, if I was doing this, I would want to clean that up, right? Like I would want all of that to be 2 decimal points and make everything look nice, but this works for it. So I'm gonna pause there. Any questions, comments, concerns? Is this making sense? All right, so seems like no questions. Awesome. So we've got this piece, right? So now let's talk about a scenario, right? Let's say that let's say we've written this query, and this query is actually a pretty long, let's say this query ended up being a super long query. We had a huge case statement. We're just doing a lot, like we've got 100 lines of code. Well, if you have end users who are wanting to do the same thing, you don't want them to have to run a long query every time. And you probably also don't want to have this long snippet of code every time you pull it up. Or for instance, if you're in like a Tableau or a Power BI or anything like that, it's a lot easier to just be able to do a quick like select star from, and you don't have to have these long queries that just take up a whole bunch of space, right? So how would we make that happen? Well, in SQL, that's where you have views. So views, so what do views do? So views essentially allow users to store complex queries in their database. So like I said, super long queries, complex. If we can dig deeper and you have all kind of procedures and things in there, it can get pretty long. So a view just gives you a quick select star from however you create it. Another good example for views is if you're building out a database, and let's say you have end users who you don't want to have access to the underlying data set. You want them to only be able to see specific columns in a specific way, albeit aggregated, or they can only see based off of their security level. Like if somebody's in a specific region, you only want them to be able to see that when they query. Then views are a great way to help with that type of security. So let's go in and create a view. So if we go in here and we're going to just do a create view on what we've already done here. So if we open up back our SQLite interface, we've already got our query here. So we're just going to leave this here. And what we're going to do is give some space here. And we're simply going to type create view. And we're going to name it. What did I name it here? Top sales. So we'll keep it as that. So we'll create view, top sales. And we will say ads this. Let's bring this back up to size. We'll minimize this. So this is creating our view based on the query that we have. So we should essentially see customer name, sales, sales rank. Okay. But let's say for this view, we don't really want our end users to see what the sales rank is. They don't really care about that. They just want to see what is the top sales for each person. So we can make it a little bit cleaner, and we can actually do a.customer name, which is the alias that we just did. Uh-oh, I think my insert just started. Get rid of some stuff. Let's see. A.customer name, and we want a.sales. Okay, so now we're specifically getting 2 columns, and we're not bringing in rank. So now we're going to run this. Oh, what did I do here? Incorrect. What did I do? Oh, I got rid of what was on that. Sorry, selects from. Now we should be fine. All right, so we've now created this view. So if you open back up here, I go back to SQLite, down here on views, we now see that view that we created. So how easy is it for us to now look for this top sales? We don't have to write all of this query, right? We can get rid of it. I won't get rid of it. I'm just going to open up a new tab so we have that here. So now I can simply say select star from top sales. I don't have to call it a view or anything like that. It already knows that this is a view because that's what we've created, right? So if I run this, what do we get? We now get top customers, sales, right? And we see it all the way down. It's already in order for us. It's already got the names, the sales, everything is already done. So it gives you a quick view, and you can do this for any type of query. You can do it with joins. You can join multiple databases. You can do all kind of case statements. Whatever the query is, you can save that as a view. So it can be really helpful. So we'll just go back to here, and this is kind of the code that we did.
Rob, we have a question.
Yeah.
What's the difference between a view and a CTE?
Yeah, so CTE is just what you're doing in the moment, right? So if I wanted to create something quickly, and I on the fly, but essentially a CTE is you're creating a table. Let's see here. A CTE is something that it's a temporary table. Essentially, that's what it is. It's a temporary table. It's something you're doing within the context of your query at the moment, right? So I could essentially create a temporary table here, and then I could query that table from my query here. So let's just say, 1 second, I'm gonna look at the syntax for CTE just so I make sure I put it correctly. And then we can do a quick example. Let's see. So let's say we did something like this. So we're going to get rid of all of this. Actually, yeah, so we're going to do this. All right. So let's say we wanted to create a temporary table here. So we're going to say with, and then you have to name what your temporary table would be. So we'll just call this temp. Oh, I guess that was a terrible idea. Sales temp, right? We'll just call it that. And we'll say as, and we'll do this. We'll copy this whole thing, bring this up here. And then we have that. What else do we need here? So now this is creating a temporary table, right? So this is my temporary table here. And then I could essentially, in the same context, select from that table. So I could do select customer name and sales from sales temp, where sales is greater than, we'll say 10,000. Okay. So what this should do is we created a temporary table based off of the view that we had, right? So now we just have a temporary table, and then we're going to select from that table here. So this should work for the syntax. If not, I know what to do, but we'll just see if it works, if it doesn't for us. So very quickly, we're able to run this, right? And you see how quickly we got the top 10. I didn't even give us 10. Well, sorry, that was not top 10. All the sales greater than 10,000. So now we can see here are all of the records from this temporary table that we just created that are greater than 10,000. So does that make sense for everyone? A CTE is a temporary table within the context of your current query. A view is something more permanent that you can always select. Because if I were to exit out of here, I could. So for instance, this is a great example. So here we have this query, sales temp, right? I can go here and query it in here. But let's say I go back over here and I get rid of this, and I say select star from sales temp. There's no table, right? Because it doesn't exist. There's no view called sales temp because we only created it in the context of this query here. So again, but here we can go back in here. Oh, I must have typed something wrong. There we go. Again, we can run it here because we have that table created. So that's your difference between CTEs and views. CTEs are great if you are just doing something like super quick on the fly, you're doing some testing. Views are more for your permanent, hey, we've now figured out what we want this data set to look like. So here is a view. And then, like I said, we could do this as a temp table, and we could create a view off of this temp table. So let's just try that really quick. So we've got our temp table, right, with the same query we've had, but now we're going to create a view on top of this temp table. So we're going to create view, and we will call it, we'll just call it temp. I was going to always do that. Sales temp table, right? As select star from our temporary table, which is sales temp. Okay. So now let's see what happens. Uh-oh, I didn't like that. Why didn't I like that? That's so weird. Make sure I got that right. Let's see. May not be able to create one off of this. Let's see. It's very weird. Okay, well, let's see if I cancel it that way, if it does it. All right, so it doesn't want us to create off a temp table. It might be just a SQLite thing. You don't necessarily always need that. That's why I tried the colon at the end, but for some reason it's being weird. But in SQL, you can actually, in SQL Server, you can do that. So not sure why that happened, but we'll keep chugging on. I think everybody gets the gist. A CTE is a temporary table. A view is a more permanent view of whatever your query is. So yeah, that's a quick and dirty of rank, dense rank, and row number, and how to create a view. And we even got to dive into CTEs a little bit. So I will pause there and just see if there's any questions. Our team, is there anything that I could go over a little bit deeper that people want to know?
We'll probably give it a few seconds just so they can hopefully get some questions in if they have any. But thanks so much, Rob.
Yeah, of course.
We do have comments saying you're great, so thank you.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
getting some props in the chat.
I'll take it. That's awesome. Since we got a little time, let's dig into this data set a little bit more. Let's see. We'll do a little bit more practice with partitioning because it can get, you can partition by multiple things. You can order by different things. So let's do maybe one more thing and see what we can do. So let's go back and look at our data set. So we will do, select star from Superstore. Oops. Take another look at this. All right, so let's look at some things with dates. So we looked at the total amount of sales, right? We looked at sales, but let's say we wanted to also throw in dates here. So let's look at, let's rank order dates for each customer. I'm trying to make sure that they have different dates for their names, because some of these people don't. I don't know if that's a good one or not. Let's do some grouping. So we've got some categories for these. So let's do some, I think last week we did some aggregation, if I'm not mistaken. So let's try to practice that a little bit. So let's say we want to get the top 5 categories based off of the sum of sales. Okay. So I'm going to type that into the comment part here. So we are going to get top 5 categories by sales amount. One of the things that I always like to tell people is when you're writing queries like this and you have a lot of different questions you're trying to answer, is when I'm writing my queries, I like to do a comment above any of my queries, and I just put what the request is. Is it what's the question? What is the ask? So that way I'm always keeping track of, I'm not getting lost in my data or anything like that. I know my goal for this query is to get the top 5 categories by sales amount. So it's more of like your pseudocode, if you will. So top 5 categories. So how do we get that? So the first thing we got to do is we've got to aggregate all the sales by category. So how do we do that? So we know that we want to get category and we want to get sales, but we don't want to get just sales. We want to get the sum of all the sales across each category, right? So how do we do that? Simple. We are going to put sum of sales on Superstore, right? Looks right. But there's one piece we're missing here, and that is the group by. So anytime that you're doing aggregation, if you remember, if you were in last week or if you're new to this week, anytime you're doing aggregation, if you have something where you're aggregating it, so let's say we had a sum of sales and a minimum of something else, whatever you have that's not being aggregated, you have to group by that piece. So since we're aggregating sales, the one thing that we're not aggregating by is, or we're not summing up, is category. So we have to group by that. So we're going to group by category. Okay. So let's see what we get here when we run that. So there's only, well, I said top 5 categories, but I guess that was a little too much. I don't realize we only have 3 categories. So let's go back here and we're gonna look back. So we might have to do it by subcategory. So select star from Superstore. Just look back at the data set. So looks like we've got a little bit more subcategories. So one thing you can do when we're looking at things like this, like I would have never known that there were only 3 categories quickly off of that until I did that group by. So one thing you can do, if you just need to quickly look at a column and know how many distinct values, because if they want the top 5 and there's only 3, then that's what they're going to get. So you can easily look at it. So let's just do that really quick. So how would I know how many subcategories there are? So you can do a distinct. So I want to say select distinct, or actually we're going to say count. Oh, which one is it? Yeah, count distinct. And we're going to say subcategory from Superstore. And so this is going to give us how many subcategories are in the Superstore data set. Oh, did I do that right? Whoops, I guess I typed in subcategory wrong, maybe. Let's add back the select star. Superstore. Okay, so it's, it might be, let me make sure I'm doing the syntax right. I definitely think I did that wrong, and that is okay. It should be, let's see what I can find real quick. Nope, I had it right. So count, distinct, oddly, saying subcategory is not a part. Let's just try it one more time. I think I might need to escape it like that. There we go. So what happened there? This is great for teaching purposes, right? So what happened here? So originally I just typed in subcategory and it gave me an error. And I was so confused. I'm like, it's saying there's no column named sub. And I'm like, that there is, I see it, like it's there. So what happens is when you have characters in your names of your columns like that, you have to put the tick marks around it so that SQL knows that that the full name is within those. So that's what we had here. So now, again, like if I run it, it's telling me there are 17 different subcategories in this data set, okay? So I'm gonna get rid of that. And we're gonna change this to subcategory. We've got to make sure to put our tick marks so that it knows it's there. And so now we should be able to, oops, I need to change it here too. Subcategory, add my tick marks here to make sure that it's all encapsulated. And now let's see what we get. Perfect. All right, so now we're able to see all of these different subcategories. There's 17 of them, right? And we're able to see the total amount of sales for each category. So then now, how do I get the top? We said we want to get the top 5 categories, right? So we'll say subcategories here. So there's a couple of ways we could do this, but we're going to do it. So the easiest way to do this, right, would just be if I just wanted to say order by, I would have to give this a name. So sum of sales as total sales. And then I would order by total sales ascending. And then I would say limit 5, right? That should get us what we want. But I think we're going to see something happen. No, we didn't. So I don't use SQL a lot, but a lot of times in SQL, when you are creating, when you're aliasing things like this, so I aliased sum of sales as total sales, it will not recognize total sales as alias because it hasn't actually been run yet. So a lot of times you'll have to do an actual sum of sales. You would have to put that physically there so it knows to do that because it doesn't know that total sales is sum of sales. So again, here it should do the same thing. We get the same result, okay? So now this would have got us the top 5 by that. That would have been the easy way to do it. But how would we have done that, right? If we were going to do it with row number or ranking, right? So I'm pretty sure we're not going to get any duplicate amounts here, right? But I'm going to use row number anyway. So now we have this. So we have this query here. But now we want to get the top 5, right? So I'm going to get rid of the order by and all of this. And essentially what we're going to do is select. We're going to do another subquery. We're going to select from this query. So we're going to do select star. Or actually, let's not do select star. Or actually, yeah, we can do select star because that's fine. Select star. So that's going to get us everything from this column. But then we also need to add in row number, right? Because that'll give us unique ranks. So row number over, and we are going to, we don't need to partition by because we only got 2 columns here, right? So it's pretty straightforward. So all we need to do is order by. We're going to do total sales, sales, descending, and we'll call this as sales rank, right? And then we're going to do from. And we're going to alias this query down here. So we're going to do the select star from, and this is our query. So we're selecting from this. Make this cleaner here. From this, we'll end down a little bit to make it easier. So we're selecting everything from this query that we have here. And then we also want to get the sales rank of this in the entire data set, right? So make sure we give it an alias here. Down. So now we should get sales rank. So now we've gotten the sales rank here, right? So it's now given a rank to everything. It's in order. It's ordered by, but we only want the top 5. So we could either do limit 5. That's an option. So then we get the top 5. Or we could do where sales rank is less than or equal to 5. Let's see if that works. It didn't, because again, this is where I told you on the group by earlier when we were doing the order by, it doesn't recognize sales rank yet because it hasn't done that ranking yet. So if we were wanting to do it based off of the sales rank number, we would essentially have to do another subquery to get that happening. But I think everybody gets the gist. So I know we're about an hour into the broadcast, and I think we've covered mostly everything today. But I want to definitely give time for pause before we end for the day and see if anybody has any questions, want to know anything else in particular that maybe we can cover. Alrighty, well, it doesn't look like we've got anything, I'm assuming. So team, we want to wrap this up. I don't know if we need to do anything else.
Yeah, I think we're good. Thanks so much, Rob. You can go back to the slides if you're all done.
Yeah.
And then we'll do some quick announcements if there are any questions. Awesome. So everyone, thanks so much for coming. We really appreciate you all coming to SQL Saturdays every week and joining us and querying and chilling with us and learning. We're all here to learn. So thank you so much for your presence. Now, of course, please complete our survey. Our survey link will be posted in the chat in just a second. But if you could complete that for us, that we can learn and grow and best cater to all of you that attend SQL Saturdays, that'd be really appreciated. And then the next slide, you can all follow us on Instagram, This Week's Team. You can find me on Twitter and LinkedIn, and then the rest of us as well, SQL coaches and our moderators. So we can leave that up for a second to give people a chance to give us a little follow. Thanks again for attending, everybody.
Yeah, thanks for joining, everybody. Hopefully this was helpful. And like I said, definitely fill out the survey so we can know what else to focus on in more sessions on Saturdays.
Awesome. And thanks so much, Rob. You were awesome today.
Yeah, no, it's my pleasure. Glad I can make it.
Making sure that the link was put up.
Yep, and just last thing, obviously, if you guys have any questions about today's session, feel free to, shoot us a message on Twitter or LinkedIn or in the Discord. We're all more than happy to help where we can.
Let me see. Looks like someone had asked if we can send questions after we have done a few practice runs. Yeah, sure, of course. You can definitely send some questions. And if you're in the Discord, feel free to ask those questions in the SQL Saturdays channel as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, shout out to Rob and shout out to our moderators for the day. And shout out to all of you for attending. Thanks so much and have a great Saturday.